We've just galloped into the new year of the fire horse, and 10 days later, Mercury goes retrograde. So what does that mean for you as a highly sensitive or neurodiverse woman over 50? Well, that's what this video is all about. Welcome, and a special welcome to all the new subscribers to this channel. When I put out the Fire Horse New Year video last week, my channel had 145 subscribers, so thank you to my OGs. And since that Fire Horse video has been out less than a week, I have 1,200, 1,500 subscribers. So glad you're here. Thanks for all your wonderful comments in the comment section to each other as well as to me. I love to see this community building, and we're discovering what life is like when we're over 50 and highly sensitive. We get to sort of drop what society expects of us and discover who we are, who is our most authentic self. And that's what this video is about. My name is Mira. I'm the Neurospicy Crone, and I wanted to talk about Mercury retrograde two ways. One, about communication and what our particular advantage is. And I also wanted to talk about re-enchantment. So I'm so glad you're here. If you haven't subscribed already, please go ahead and do so. And let's dive in. So briefly, Mercury retrograde, I've done a whole video on Mercury retrograde called Your Cosmic Sabbatical that I will link in the description. So go ahead and watch that one too. But basically, the planet Mercury that rules communication and technology and travel, and I say highly sensitive people, subtle communication, goes retrograde, which means that the energy of the planet seems to be going in reverse. And so it causes things to slow down or become a little askance. And so what to do during that time? This next one coming up is February 26th through March 20th. So mark your calendars. And as we're galloping along in the year of the fire horse, when we get to Mercury retrograde, it's like we've happened upon a beautiful oasis. There's a cool pool where we can get off the horse, take a break, stretch our legs, let the horse lap up the cool water. We can also refresh ourselves with this cool water, rest in the shade, gaze at the sky, and be in a state of wonder about the shapes that the clouds make as they drift by. So it doesn't have to be all gloom and doom, computer snafus, and communication challenges. It can be a time of remembering. It can be a time of reflection at that beautiful pool, of rest, recovering. And it also is a time of re-enchantment. All of nature has this beautiful cycle of in and out and back and forth and dark and light. And our modern society is out of touch with that. And that's oftentimes why we feel so exhausted, why we have such huge mental health challenges in our modern society, is because we're living out of sync of the rhythms of nature. And one of the things we can do at this stage in our lives is to reclaim our relationship with the cycles of nature. So the fire horse energy, which lasts a full year, is about momentum. It's about charging forward. It's about claiming our freedom. And the Mercury retrograde season, which happens about 4 times each year, is that rest, that respite, where we reclaim our inner selves, where we reclaim our magic. And so as this time approaches, we can approach our communication in a way that feels fluent and natural to us. So most of the time, I think communication tends to be fast and forward, whereas, see if this is true for you, our communication tends to be more inner and more deep. Well, with Mercury retrograde sort of slowing down communication, all of a sudden everybody's communicating like we are. So all of a sudden we're in a place of fluency rather than feeling a little bit off sync with other people. And we're kind of in our zone of genius in this way It's like, welcome to our world. And so as communication slows down, we say, give me some time to think about that. That's a complete sentence. And then we have the space, we have the time to reflect, to go within, to consider what our response to this is. And so in this way, the Mercury retrograde period becomes an asset for us. It sort of levels the playing field. So that pause before responding that we've always done instinctively and have been criticized for now becomes, we're the most fluent person in the room. And so along with this, I wanted to add a piece, because the pause before responding is typical of someone who's highly sensitive, and neurodiversity is part of that or not. I'll talk about that more in a video, but I know for myself, I can be really impulsive. I can act before I think. And so if that's you too, just notice that sometimes that quick response that we give is a way to handle our nervous system regulation. So if you do find yourself like being impulsive, I know I am sometimes, that is oftentimes related to nervous system regulation, and that you might want to make a pause and go outside, get some fresh air, move around, do some physical activity, drink a full glass of water, take a nap if you can. When in doubt, take a nap, just so that that impulsiveness is more of a response to our situation, whereas the deep thinking and the slower response is more about like being sensitive to the situation. I have a great example of that. So the video that I put out about the Fire Horse New Year, the Lunar New Year, if you haven't seen that yet, I will leave a link to that as well. We're still in this New Year time. I thought, oh, it'll be a great idea to offer people a free resource, and they can get it by typing a word in the comments. The word is freedom. And my channel was very tiny at the time, and I didn't have it automated. I didn't think about how am I actually going to deliver this to people. So hundreds of people said freedom, 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 which was awesome. So I did that all by hand. I did that all personally and individually, because I didn't have, so that's a great example of being impulsive and just like, oh, I'll do this. I like thought of it while I was making the video, and then I didn't have the actual system in place for it. So just to recognize for yourself what's true for you. We're not trying to fit into boxes. We're not trying to fit under some kind of a label or a diagnosis. We just want to understand like, oh, this is what works best for me, and this is how I want to move around in the world. And so Mercury retrograde is a great time for that, because we're reflecting. And the communication that we do is more aligned with how we typically are. So these are ways we can reconsider communication during Mercury retrograde. And now I would like to get into what to me feels like a very juicy topic right now, and that is the topic of re-enchantment. Re-enchantment isn't becoming someone new, it's reclaiming someone true, like our true selves. Someone put in the comments in last week's video something that I thought captured this beautifully. She wrote, "There's an animating force in me that's been subdued through decades of conditioning. And now she is ready to release that." That's re-enchantment. It's the reclaiming of what's been dulled or suppressed or educated out of us. We've spent decades masking, conforming, being told we're too much or too sensitive. It's been decades of being asked to operate on someone else's operating system. There's a self that got left behind. The self that's sensitive, magical, deeply perceptive, attuned to things others miss. What does re-enchantment mean to you? What are some ways you can cultivate an enchanting life? What sorts of spells and magic do you want to cultivate? diving into a creative pursuit. Maybe it's something that you've done in the past that you love and you want to get back to, like singing or painting or fiber arts, performance of some kind, whatever that is for you. Or maybe you want to try something new that you haven't tried before. Picking up a new musical instrument is a wonderful way to feel into re-enchantment. Also, your spiritual life. Perhaps in college you were taking yoga classes or meditation classes, and then life got busy. Maybe it's time to revisit one of these spiritual practices, or to, again, explore a new spiritual practice. So spirituality and creativity are wonderful ways to facilitate re-enchantment, to have fun, to let go of all that programming and that false identity that we needed to take on in order to survive in this culture. It's like we've been operating on somebody else's operating system, and now we get to do a big reboot and find our own unique, crazy, enchanted way of being in the world. So this Mercury retrograde, which again happens a few times each year, the next one is scheduled February 26th through March 20th. It's a great time to bring these practices back into your life, and also to keep it simple, letting go of things that are dull or boring or overwhelming or just don't feel juicy and alive to you right now. As we age, our biochemistry actually changes, so we're less inclined to be compelled to care for others and more able and free to care for ourselves. That doesn't mean we stop caring about others. It just means that we're less obligated in the way that we were in the earlier phase of our life of mothering. When you think about the triple goddess, the maiden and the mother, and now we're moving into the crone. And so we have a lot more freedom in that way. One thing I wanted to mention as well is to really be aware of other people's energy during Mercury retrograde. They can be feeling frenetic and chaotic, and, think about travel snafus. Well, somebody who shows up late and then there's a challenge, of course it's all about the challenge, right? It's like, no, you showed up late. So just kind of keep your distance, have healthy boundaries around people who may be caught up in the chaos that they're sort of creating, that Mercury retrograde is exacerbating. As with the fire horse energy of the new year, we still want to have those cooling practices. So there's a time to activate, there's a time to take action, and then there's a time to release, to get quiet and to get cool. And Mother Nature does this every day with the sunrise and the sunset. We do it every season, and we do it through the New Year's and these different planetary influences as well. So as a highly sensitive person, you probably feel that a little bit more anyways. Like I was feeling that big surge with the new year of the fire horse. It was like, wow, I went from a teeny tiny channel to like lots of interaction and lots of people requesting resources. And so it was a big leap, a big expansion. And also to stay balanced and to have a sustainable business for the long run, there needs to be that time of rest and recovery and reclaiming and re-enchanting. And that's the beauty of the Mercury retrograde season. So I'd love to hear from you in the comments. What's something that you're going to reclaim for your own re-enchantment during Mercury retrograde? Leave a comment below. And if you haven't already subscribed to this channel, we'd love to have you. Please subscribe, like the video if you liked it. And if there's anybody else that pops into your mind that you'd like to share this video with, I'd love to have you share it as well. In the comments in the last video, several people were saying, oh, somebody shared this with me, or I'm sharing this with my friends. So that's beautiful. I love to see this community developing. So thanks again for being here, and thank you for subscribing. I will leave you some resources. There's a free map for how to develop a sovereign stream of income. So if part of re-enchantment and reclaiming this autonomy at this phase of your life involves having your own stream of income, There's a free resource in the description below. And I will also leave a link to the Crone's Nest. This is a place where highly sensitive and neurodiverse women are gathering. It's an online sanctuary where we're really focusing on our creative pursuits and our spiritual practices and living in alignment with nature. And really people who get us, so you can be like, oh, I'm not the only one. I don't have to keep faking it till I make it. I have already arrived in this phase of my life, perfect as I am. So I will leave a link for the Crone's Nest as well if you'd like to check that out. And once again, thank you for being here. Have a beautiful day, and we'll see you in the next video.